at the vernal equinox, but we're also going to see a supermoon. And what a supermoon is, it's the name given to a full moon that looks larger and brighter because it's closer to Earth in its orbit. And not only is it the supermoon happening during the vernal equinox, but it's the worm supermoon. And the reason it has the name worm, and shout out to Susan Bentrup for telling me why, because I admitted to you I have no idea why this is called the worm moon. And it's a name given to the worm full moon in March. And she said it's because the ground begins to soften and the earthworm casts appear, inviting the return of the robins. So it just happens around this time. And so that's the name given to the full moon. So thank you for that bit of information. Again, that supermoon happening just shortly after the vernal equinox this afternoon. 45 degrees the current temperature in Russellville, 42 in Little Rock, as well as in Pine Bluff, 41 in Arkadelphia, about 51 the current temperature in Fayetteville. Today's sunrise happens at 7:13, and after that we start to warm to about 50 degrees by 10. More cloud cover by noon, and the rain gets here this afternoon. So if you're taking the pups out on a walk, the morning is going to be your best bet. We'll talk about when that rain arrives in central Arkansas in just a few.
Here's a look at this morning's headlines. Two 18-year-olds are being held without bond after pleading not guilty in the shooting death of a senior airman at a North Little Rock gas station. Draquan Robinson and Keith Harris Jr. both face capital murder and aggravated robbery charges in the death of Sean McCoe. Police are still working to identify another suspect seen in a panda hat in surveillance video, which we have online at THV11.com. Passionate pleas from citizens were at the forefront of Little Rock City Board meeting as people called for more accountability following a deadly officer-involved shooting. Little Rock police officer Charles Stark shot and killed 30-year-old Bradley Blackshire on February 22nd. Police say Blackshire was driving a stolen vehicle and drove the car towards Starks when he approached Blackshire in a parking lot, so Starks opened fire. The prosecuting attorney's office says it is treating this case like any other homicide case and will determine if criminal charges are warranted. Meanwhile, Officer Starks has been relieved of duty. An update this flu season. In the past week, 14 more people died in Arkansas from the virus. Flu is still widespread in the state with high intensity. Influenza A remains the primary type of flu with several subtypes. In total, 77 people died from the flu this season in the state. That is a look at this morning headlines. If you want to know more, you can find all of these stories and more on THV11.com.
The city of Little Rock is suing Uber Eats for failure to get a tax permit. The city's Advertising and Promotion Commission says Uber can't deliver prepared food without the proper permit, which it doesn't have. The lawsuit asks that Uber Eats suspend operation until it gets a permit and begins paying a 2% tax. According to the Arkansas Secretary of State Records, Uber Eats isn't even registered to do business in the state. Lots of people hit the road for spring break, but there are some on the road who aren't going anywhere particular. They're just out to ride. Motorcyclists are spending this week out and about enjoying the weather. So Arkansas State Police want to remind people of some of the laws, especially those regarding children and teens. Kids under 8 years old cannot ride on a motorcycle at any time. Anyone between 14 and 16 can get a special license for motor-driven cycles.
We tell all of our customers that when you get on a motorcycle, not only do you need to know how to operate the motorcycle, but you need to know what to look for, what the hazards are.
Drivers of other vehicles need to be aware as well.
A Conway woman is eager to move back to her childhood roots as the city is wrapping up an affordable housing project in the Pine Street neighborhood. Leona Walton spent her younger years in that neighborhood, and she's been gone for a while, but soon gets to return when the housing project is complete. The housing development at Seaman Morgan and Factory Streets targets qualified families with an income at or below 60% of the area median.
We need to bring new life back to our neighborhood. We can still have the same experience, but with different people.
The project consists of 44 homes, each with 3 beds and 2 baths. For more information, you can head to this story on THV11.com.
Road to a Better Community is brought to you by MNB.
Well, almost every big hospital or clinic relies a lot on philanthropy. It takes big money to provide modern medical care.
But THV11's Rolly Hoyt introduces us to a woman, a cancer patient, trying to do good on a smaller scale from the comfort of a chair.
Have to stay positive. I say medicine for the mind is as good as medicine for the body.
And for Karen Danhoff, putting her mind to helping others with cancer helps. Working on something that's not quite medicine, but is plenty good for the body.
When you're in a heated chemotherapy seat, that it makes it a lot more tolerable and comfortable, because with the chemicals going through you, you are chilled literally to the bone.
Believe it or not, Danhoff is in the middle of beating stage 4 colon cancer. She regularly goes to Carti in Benton, but that clinic doesn't have these heated chairs. A trip to Little Rock convinced her to try and change that.
And I sat in the seat that reclined, and it had 4 different heating elevations, and it was so great. And I thought, we need these in Benton.
So she started a low-key fundraising drive.
I named it Heat the Seats. We are at almost 30,000. Just started in January, so the community of Benton has rallied behind this, and it's been so impactful.
We associate high tech in so many of these modern medical fights, but Karen Danhoff's drive recognizes that something as low tech as an easy chair with heat can make just as much of a difference.
When you're sitting for potentially hours on end to get a treatment, it really matters that you can be comfortable.
Dr. Jamie Burton says it's hard to quantify how much comfort helps, but she knows it adds up.
We know that someone's outlook as they're fighting this diagnosis is so important, and so being comfortable so that they can really focus all of their attention on just getting well.
We're just really staying in faith and excited. We know we're going to meet this. I know it's going to happen.
If you want to donate, we've got a link for you right now on THV11.com.
Danhoff's focus is on Benton, but Carti hopes to put these chairs at all of their clinics, and donations will help.
This morning, we get an exclusive peek into a Cersei business. They have swings in the break room and a ballroom in the basement. Get ready to discover Arkansas next.
And we're learning to accessorize the surfaces in our home. Chris H. Olson is here with some decorating tips.
We're also watching a line of showers pushing into the state. We'll talk about when they arrive in central Arkansas coming up next. Time now is at 6:10. We're taking a look at traffic, and unfortunately, Officer Larry Mears, we are talking about a few accidents.
Yeah, not off to a very good start this morning. State police are working 2 at the moment. One's at 167 South at McCain, and they've got another one over on 440 at Bankhead that's blocking 1 lane, and then Little Rock's working 1 at Roosevelt and Booker.
Oh man, so 3 accidents to report there. Just be mindful of that. We're off to a busy start this morning in the traffic world. At least no weather-related delays expected this morning. Just be careful of these areas. Any other reports out there?
That's all for now.
All right, your safety locations.
Arkansas State Police will be on 67, 167, and Rixey Road. Little Rock will be on Roosevelt Road, and North Little Rock will be on Remount Road.
All right, and there's a look. It looks like along I-30. It looks like we're starting to see a higher volume of traffic this morning, so be mindful of that. Thank you so much. We'll check in with you in the next 30 minutes.
I'll be back.
Current temperature at Little Rock at about 42 degrees. That's technically warmer than yesterday. Yesterday we were starting the day off at 40, 45 in Russellville, 46 in Hot Springs. Clinton off to a warmer start this morning, at least staying above freezing this time around with 37 degrees in the low 50s for northwest Arkansas. Temperatures today still make it into the low 60s. But we are going to see more clouds. We're going to see more rain pushing in this afternoon. It is going to be the light rain, though. High temperatures. Big difference across the state with 51 in Fayetteville, 60 in Conway, 62 for Hot Springs, 70 for Monticello and El Dorado this afternoon. The reason there's such a big difference is because of that rain arriving in northwest Arkansas early in the day, and central Arkansas will see the sunshine early on. So we'll have time to warm up before the rain gets here. The rain at the moment pushing into northwest Arkansas, and that'll move towards the south and east throughout the afternoon. This is why we have a cold front just outside of the state that will help that rain push through. And the reason we're going to see that chance of rain is because of that warm moisture that's moving in from the Gulf. throughout this morning. Sunshine following behind it as high pressure will settle in. That's why we'll dry out and see the sun for Thursday and Friday. But for this afternoon, this is what you need to watch for. This is Wednesday around 10:30 in the morning. Seeing that rain expanding from Mountain Home towards Clinton and into Fort Smith. That cold front makes it to central Arkansas sometime between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. And expect the rain, very scattered showers between 2 and about 6 across central Arkansas, and then eventually completely out of the state by around 9 or 10 this evening. I'd be surprised if we see any thunderstorms with this. If you hear any thunder, that'll be very rare. I'm thinking this will just be the light to light showers that we're expecting. And as far as how much rainfall, less than 1/10 of an inch expected across central Arkansas. We have another chance of rain though, Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday. And when you put all of that rain together, we could see somewhere between 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rainfall across central Arkansas, the highest amount staying across the south and west. Again, that's taken into consideration rain that we're expecting on Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday. For today, spring starts officially at 4:58. Scattered rain expected this afternoon. Winds at the moment are out of the south and west and light. But this afternoon, we are going to see winds shift towards the north and west. High temperatures across our northwestern counties. Again, a little cooler because the rain gets there sooner and into the 50s. We'll eventually make it to the low 60s across central and in southern Arkansas, closer towards the mid 60s, close to 70 degrees in Hampton, Warren, and in Camden. Eventually, we're going to dry out. Thursday and Friday, we'll see the sunshine, high temperatures in the 60s, and then Saturday and Sunday, that's when the rain returns. But at least we have another few days of dry weather in store before we make it to the weekend. Downtown Searcy is full of charm, and this week, Adam Bledsoe and I discovered an old building with a new purpose.
Just a swingin', swingin'. That's the part you're supposed to do.
Swingin'.
Because we're just swingin'.
Swingin'.
Yeah! We know you've heard about Searcy, Arkansas on the news lately. That's all because of Small Business Revolution. We wanted to come here and check out what's going on in Searcy.
And in downtown, we found this beautiful building, completely redone and the history preserved. We thought we'd check it out.
Come with us. What used to be Robin Sanford Mercantile Company is now Think Idea Studio, and there's a ballroom downstairs.
Yeah, event center and upstairs offices. This is actually an example of what was preserved, a freight elevator gear.
Sweet. What else?
So much more. Let's go. So this is now the break room of Think Idea Studios.
Can I get a job here?
Take a look at these cabinets. These were the floorboards of the Mercantile. How cool is that? Have been redone and now are cabinets.
They thought about everything here. They used this old flooring turned up sideways, 112 years old, turned into a table. Marielle, join me at the Nook. Is this not amazing?
This is so, I feel inspired.
They have a Nook. I want to move in here. Matt, can I move in? Come on.
The bottom half of the Think Idea Studio is a grand ballroom, which was the original Mercantile.
This used to be 2 stories. We can see the tin ceiling right here. It's all original. He opened it up, made it this beautiful ballroom. I cannot believe this. I'm ready to dance. This is a beautiful place to discover.
In downtown Searcy. So it was really cool because they took an old building and made something really cool with it, and they were able to preserve a lot of the history, a lot of the decor in there. Think those big books where you had to write in what you bought and how much you bought it for way back when in the 1800s, and that's some of the decor that they have in their loft, and it's just a lot of different office space, and it's just a really cool thing to highlight there in downtown Searcy.
I want those swings.
I know, so cool. The offices really made you feel inspired and really, it's called the Think Idea Studio.
Well,
so,
it definitely makes you think and come up with some creative ideas for your home, or maybe a building, maybe a rundown building in your neighborhood that you can renovate.
It was a great idea.
Amanda?
Well, earlier in the show, we learned how to make hanging shelves for our plants or anything else we want to display. But how do we accessorize the new space? We have Chris H. Olson here showing us some tips. I mean, these are super cool, but you can even add some more decorations.
Yeah, you know, of course, we call these tree cookie shelves, and they kind of have a cool organic look. They're great if you don't have a lot of space, but what do you do with them? Of course, you know, a lot of times we think of plants, of course, but there's other things you can do. But the first things, let's talk about plants. If you can just take something that's probably like in a terracotta clay pot with a little color because it goes with our look, that can be perfect on here as well. And then I like to do collectibles. This is the one thing I decorate when I do the decor in my own house that Owen says things about. So the first thing is I love using books, and I know some designers say books are out, but you know,
How are books out?
I don't know.
They're like timeless.
I just heard that, like, come on. So, you know, what's cool about them, they add color. And if you do stackable like this and just kind of hemorrhaging them in a little position like this, one, that balances the shelf because you can maneuver them the way you want it. And then you can do whatever you want in them. You can do some fun container.
You do a little bit.
Yeah, like this has a snail. It has personality. So if someone walks into your house, they're going to look at that, they're going to smile.
Oh, for sure.
So I love that. Or you can go ahead and add a candle.
Nice big candle.
Yeah, big candle.
That.
Now remember, this is rope. So you want to make sure that your candle is in a glass container so we don't start a fire inside.
Good call. Good call.
You think that'd be logical, but you don't know.
Yeah, but people like me.
Well, you just never know. Or I like doing air plants. The reason is because all you have to do is every 2 weeks I put them under the faucet in the sink, shake them, and put them back on the shelf.
Super easy, low maintenance.
Like this one though is artificial.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to put that. Please don't put that in the water.
So look at it. If you put this in like this, you know, make sure you fluff it up. On a stack of books or not. Look how cool that looks.
That looks cool.
You are done. You have a piece of cool decor. Or you can take off the books. You don't have to use books if you don't want to. And then
if they're out.
But
if you think they're out.
Then I can just do this one by itself, but add some things, add some different types of air plants. These are real, and this becomes a little collection.
I love that.
And you
That's
see how
super modern looking.
Yes.
And succulents and air plants are in, so if you don't want to be old school with the books,
look how pretty that is.
You have the option.
And this is great in an office.
Yeah.
You can add your personal touch in an office, a cubicle. It'd be hard to hang in here, but we can figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
But anyhow, if you do a collection of these, maybe 3, you have yourself a cool look.
Yeah, I think that is super, super cool, very creative, and gives you an opportunity to style it however you want for whatever room you're putting it in.
Exactly right.
Very easy. All right, thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it as always. We'll be back after a break.
Turner joining us now with a look at today's Arkansas business headlines. Good morning to you, Lance.
Good morning. Yeah, we're going to start talking about recycling, and there's a business angle to this, believe it or not, as there is to most things. But 3 central Arkansas cities are no longer accepting glass in curbside recycling. Waste Management, which provides recycling to areas of Pulaski County, will stop taking glass on April 1st in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Sherwood. The company said it's changing the policy to improve the effectiveness of its local recycling processes. The company has been working to adjust to new low commodity prices and the loss of China as a market to ship those recyclables. The no glass policy has already been in effect for residents in the unincorporated areas of the county for the past 2 years. Well, the CEO of Murphy USA of El Dorado earned about $6 million in 2018. That's up from about $5.8 million in 2017. The report on Andrew Clyde's executive compensation was part of the publicly traded gas station's proxy statement filed this week with federal regulators. Murphy USA, of course, is a spinoff of Murphy Oil Corporation, also of El Dorado. It has stores in 26 states. Clyde said the company finished 2018 strong, growing sales volumes at its stores and quarterly fuel sales activity. The company will hold its annual meeting on May the 1st. Well, the University of Central Arkansas is in the market for a new chief of staff. Kelly Erstein, the chief of staff and vice president of university relations, is leaving that post effective August 15th. Erstein has been hired by the Independent Insurance Agents of Arkansas to serve as the Professional Trade Association's CEO. Erstein actually held that position before he was named UCA's chief of staff in 2014. And finally, Walmart of Bentonville is ending its popular Savings Catcher app and angering some of its customers in the process. The retailer said this week that it would pull the plug on the program, which allowed customers to comparison shop and apply savings to Walmart gift cards. In a letter to customers, Walmart said its prices were winning out on most comparisons, making the program not necessary. But customers are disputing that argument on social media. Of course, they have taken to Twitter.
They want to save some money.
Where are my savings? But you've got to realize that Walmart is looking at all the activity across this app, across everyone who uses it, and they know statistically that
their
they're
prices
winning.
are going to be lower.
That's right.
Yeah.
So why do it? And so, but it's tough for people to accept change.
When we don't like it, we go to Twitter.
Let you know. That's right.
Thank you, Lance.
You bet.
Well, today is the last day for Searcy businesses to submit an application for a spot in the Hulu show Small Business Revolution. The town won the chance to be featured on the show's 4th season, plus a $500,000 renovation. Now they're determining which businesses will be part of the revolution. The top 12 small businesses will be named finalists. Then Friday, host Ty Pennington will be in town to announce the 6 winning shops. Well, if your spring break includes riding your bike near the riverfront, this is for you. A portion of the Arkansas River Trail between the Main Street Bridge and the Broadway Street Bridge is closed starting today. Crews will use the time to trim and maintain trees along the trail. You can use Riverfront Drive as a detour. The trail will also be closed tomorrow from 7:30 to 3:30. Conway, known as the city of colleges and roundabouts, is looking to add their 28th circular intersection, but they're not doing it without the community's input. The city created a survey and asked residents which area they thought needed a roundabout the most. Today, Conway is expected to share those results. Whichever section is chosen will get a roundabout this year. For those of you who drive Highway 67, there will be some lane closures tomorrow for construction work starting at 11 a.m. Southbound traffic will be cut down to 1 lane between Cabot and Jacksonville. The temporary shift will also impact the southbound on-ramp at Highway 5 and the off-ramp at Exit 11. The lanes will reopen Friday morning at 6. Well, THV11 has a new friend, Jenny, the garden cat. But where did she come from? That's ahead on THV11 this morning.
Hey, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us. Laura Monteverde alongside Amanda Yeager and Marielle Ruiz on this first day of spring. But not only is it that, it is World Storytelling Day. And apparently it's Alien Abduction Day.
Hopefully none of us get abducted. We make it through this newscast.
So be on alert today. Eyes on the skies.
I have questions.
I have many as well.
A lot remain.
Why has this happened? Is that why we have a day for it? Is like
the
today?
alien abduction would make for a good story for Storytelling Day.
That's very true.
Yeah, I guess maybe
if you live to tell it.
I say we just stick to that it's the first day of spring. How about that?
That one sounds
weird.
good.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, and I want to give a big shout out to Susan because we talked about the supermoon happening tonight as well, and the full moon in March is known as the worm moon, and I admit that I had no idea why it's called the worm moon. But I mean, every month has a different name for the full moon, and Susan said that it's because the ground begins to soften because of the rains, and the earthworm casts reappear, inviting the return of robins.
We've had enough rain, so
yeah, we've definitely had enough rain. So thanks for that fun fact, Susan. Really appreciate it because I admit I have no idea why it was called the worm moon.
Me either.
But yeah, it's the vernal equinox worm supermoon. If you want to impress your friends today, tell them that's happening tonight. And the last time that we had a supermoon coincide with the vernal equinox, or the first day of spring, was in 1981, and it won't happen again for 11 years. So although we do get full moons every month, this time it's a little special because it's a vernal equinox worm supermoon. Really cool name too, if anything. We are going to see some rain pushing in later today. I do think a lot of the cloud cover will clear in time tonight to see that full moon, but we are going to see that rain later this afternoon. We're already seeing an impact with the rain on temperatures. 51 degrees the current temperature in Fayetteville, 52 in Fort Smith, and about 42 in Little Rock. And the reason why it's warmer across the north and west is because of that cloud cover. It's because of that rain. But temperatures today still make it to the low 60s, about 61 degrees expected at 3 this afternoon. Rain chances are going to be on the rise in the afternoon. The best chance to see the rain in central Arkansas will be between 2 and 6, and it is going to be the light rain. We're not expecting to see a complete washout. I'm not expecting to even see thunderstorms out of this. It'll be rare if you hear the thunder with the rain we're expecting later today. We'll talk a little bit more about the specific timeline of this. We'll talk about how much rain we're expecting in the next week, because this afternoon, not the only chance to see some rain. So we'll prep you for that coming up in about 10 minutes.
Vice President Mike Pence took a look at the raging Elkhorn River at the small town of Waterloo, Nebraska.
The area found itself cut off from the outside world last week by floodwaters.
Pence visited the flood disaster area at the request of President Donald Trump.
He met with a group of first responders and visited a temporary shelter.
New Zealand Police Commissioner Mike Bush says he believes police officers stopped the gunman who killed 50 people at 2 mosques on his way to another attack. In a 74-page manifesto released just before the attack, the accused Australian gunman said he was going to attack mosques in Christchurch and Linwood, and then one in the town of Ashburton if he made it that far. Police say FBI agents have traveled to New Zealand to help with this investigation.
Dutch police have arrested another man on suspicion of involvement in the deadly tram shooting in Utrecht. The police said in a statement late Tuesday the 40-year-old man was arrested by heavily armed officers. They said the man is suspected of involvement in the shooting. His role is under further investigation. Police say the main suspect following Monday's shooting that left 3 people dead is 37-year-old Gokman Tanis, and he remains in custody.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Passionate pleas from citizens were at the forefront of Little Rock City Board meeting as people called for more accountability following a deadly officer-involved shooting. Little Rock police officer Charles Stark shot and killed 30-year-old Bradley Blackshire on February 22nd. Police say Blackshire was driving a stolen vehicle and drove the car towards Starks when he approached Blackshire in a parking lot, so Starks opened fire. The message from many community members is that Officer Starks should be charged with murder.
We need justice in this situation. We need somebody to stand up for us, and you guys are the ones that we elected into office to do that.
So that Bradley's justice would not just be for Bradley and his family, but for any other young man or young woman that may experience this type of horror.
The prosecuting attorney's office says it is treating this case like any other homicide case and will determine if criminal charges are warranted. Officer Starks, meanwhile, remains relieved of duty.
14 more Arkansans died from the flu this past week, making the total number of deaths this season to 77. This is a third wave of influenza, and there are currently 2 strains circulating. Only one is resistant to the vaccine in adults. But this time of year, people assume flu season is over, and even if they have symptoms, they don't think to ask a doctor. But you should always go get checked out.
So even if you go to a doctor and they check you out and you don't have the flu, at least you know 2 things. You know you don't have the flu, and you're not going to give anybody else the flu, so you can potentially still go about your business as you usually do.
And since the flu is still so prevalent in Arkansas, doctors believe it could be rampant well into April. The flu hasn't been this bad this late in the year since the epidemic of 1999.
A Benton cancer patient and volunteer at Carti is pushing to get heated lounge chairs into local chemotherapy clinics. The Cancer Center in Little Rock is outfitted with several chairs that provide some comfort during infusions that can last for hours. But Karen Danhoff lives and gets her treatment in Benton, where they don't have those chairs yet. That prompted her to start a fundraiser to help everybody heat the seats.
When you're in a heated chemotherapy seat, that it makes it a lot more tolerable and comfortable, because with the chemicals going through you, you are chilled literally to the bone.
The goal is to get $75,000, and doctors say being more comfortable allows patients to better focus on getting information from medical professionals and family. There's a donation link in this story on THV11.com.
Arkansas, it's time to lift up your prayers and thoughts for Razorback superfan Kanan Sandy. Sandy has suffered another mini stroke. The recent attack impacted his speech, and he's now at the Arkansas Heart Hospital for tests. This comes after Kanan's stroke just last week. He's been a Hog fan his entire life, and for many current and former Razorbacks, he's like a member of the family, always showing up to call the Hogs and show his support. And Arkansans are showing Kanan support. Here's what some of you said on our Facebook page. Carol said, "Hang in there, Kanan. We know you can get through this." Fern said, "Setbacks are just a thing to overcome. Prayers that you do it big." Patty said, "You've got this, Kanan. Stay Hog strong." And Mona said, "Prayers for Kanan for a speedy recovery, for the doctors and specialists for knowledge to know what to do for him, and his parents for strength." And Marilyn said, "Sending you get well wishes, positive vibes, and lots of prayers for complete healing." And that's just a few of over 340 comments and over 2,100 reactions on that Facebook post. Our thoughts and prayers are with Kanan as well. Get better soon.
Well, a big talker on our Facebook page right now. House lawmakers vote yes to teaching the Bible in public schools. According to Bill 1626, if at least 15 students ask for an elective course on the academic study of the Bible, the school must offer it. The course must be taught in, quote, a non-devotional manner with no attempt made to indoctrinate students. The bill now heads to the Senate.
And a bill on the smoking age in Arkansas and cancer funding has advanced. The Arkansas Senate approved legislation raising the minimum age to buy tobacco to 21 and increases some cigarette taxes for a cancer center. Governor Asa Hutchinson has said he supports this legislation. The bill also prevents cities and counties from regulating tobacco more strictly than the state. It heads back to the House for a final vote.
Big news this morning. The FDA approves the first postpartum depression drug. A study found the Zulresso helped end postpartum depression for most within 2.5 days. But if it is not covered by your insurance, it is pricey, set at $34,000. An active ingredient in Zulresso helps restore levels which plunge after birth. The FDA is restricting its use to certified healthcare facilities where patients can be closely monitored. It is not uncommon for people to leave pets behind when a hurricane hits, but one Florida senator wants to make it a first-degree misdemeanor. Senate Bill 1738 would revise the statewide standards for animal cruelty to include leaving a dog outside and unattended by use of a restraint during a man-made disaster or a natural disaster. If it passes, someone who is in violation could be fined up to $5,000.
Gucci is announcing a new global program called Gucci Changemakers. It's a continuing effort to foster diversity and inclusion through community action. The multi-year program includes a $5 million fund focusing on building strong connections and opportunities within communities of color, and a $1.5 million 4-year scholarship to bring a more diverse pool of students to enter the fashion industry. Gucci is also launching a company-wide volunteering program to cover issues like homelessness. Google plans to launch a video game streaming platform called Stadia. The platform lets gamers jump across devices operating on Google's Chrome browser and Chrome OS, such as Pixel phones and Chromebooks. Google says playing video games will be as simple as pressing a Play Now button without having anything to download. There is a dedicated Stadia controller that is optional. No launch date or pricing has been announced. Well, as THV11 is working to save a generation, so are leaders around the state. They gathered yesterday at the Criminal Justice Institute Opioid Conference in North Little Rock.
Our very own Laura Monteverde spoke at the conference after they screened THV11's special, Saving a Generation, the new face of drug addiction. So Laura, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for people across the state to learn more about the opioid crisis that we're facing right now. And there was a room filled with doctors, pharmacists, and even people who have lost someone to an overdose. And there were so many different topics that they discussed, including Narcan. And the numbers now show that it's working. Over 200 lives saved by law enforcement using Narcan. When we first aired Saving a Generation in March of 2018, that number was at 60. So you can see so many people's lives have been saved by it. So I think these kind of community panels are really good in order to learn a little bit more about this epidemic. And I'm proud of the work that we are doing here at THV11, and we've really got our whole crew kind of invested in this, and why it's such an incredible event like this. We need more of them across the state.
And I feel like a lot of people are always saying, you know, well, what do I do? What can I do? And I think the community education aspect is so important. And just understanding the problem and then being an advocate for something like that is huge.
Yeah, and it helps in ending the stigma too.
Right, and I love that we're keeping it going as a station. We didn't just show the incredible documentary, but we've kept the conversation going. I think that's the important part.
Yeah, keeping the commitment going. That's what we said we would do, and we're doing it.
Definitely.
Well, everyone loves a good deal, especially if it's free, right? And it's the first day of spring, so we're going to tell you how you can get a free ice cream cone. Plus,
well, we have a little furry visitor in our THV11 weather garden. We'll tell you all about her and her journey so far. Coming up.
We're also watching for rain moving into the area. Our Red River RView11 cam. Not showing a whole lot just yet, but we'll tell you when that rain arrives next. 6:45 on your Wednesday morning. We're taking a look at traffic on Waze. Officer Larry Mears here with us this morning. And the good news is that a lot of the Little Rock Metro looking green and good. The not so good news is that we're already dealing with accidents.
Yeah, State Police is a little busy this morning. They cleaned one up a little while ago at McCain at 167. That may still be causing a little delay, not sure. They are still working one at 440 in Bankhead. It had a lane blocked. That's probably going to be an issue for a while. And there's a new one out in Benton in front of the fairgrounds, Saline County Fairgrounds. It's on the service road, so it shouldn't cause an issue as long as people can go through without too much rubbernecking.
All right, yeah, don't do that. That's what causes the issues. But at the moment, not seeing any backups on I-30 due to that. But what we are seeing, speeds down to about 10 to 12 miles per hour on 440 near Bankhead where that lane is closed. So just keep that in mind. Also causing a backup on the 30-440 interchange. So also keep that in mind. Any other reports out there?
That's it for now.
All right, well, we appreciate you joining us. What about our safe speed locations?
The State Police will be on 167 at Rixey Road. Little Rock will be on Roosevelt Road, and North Little Rock will be on Remount.
All right, doesn't look too bad there along 630. A beautiful start to the day. Check out those colors.
Nice sunrise.
Yeah, when we have those high thin clouds, we always see really cool colors in our sunrise. So that's what you got to look forward to this morning, this afternoon. You want to be careful with the rain. You rode the bike in?
No, I'm in a car today.
Okay, that's good. Well, thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next time. 42 degrees the current temperature in Little Rock. A beautiful start to the day, although on the cool side, you want to make sure to grab the light jacket, the sweater this morning. Wind chill, not a big factor today. The dew point slowly going up. The higher that number is, the more moisture's in the atmosphere, and that's what we're going to be dealing with later today when we have those rain chances go up. Winds still out of the south and west, very light this morning. We're not dealing with any strong winds for today. 45 degrees the current temperature in Russellville, 46 in Hot Springs, warmer across the west and northwest as more cloud cover starts to move in earlier in the day. In fact, we're already seeing some of that rain trying to make it into areas of far northwest Arkansas, most of it staying in areas of Oklahoma, into the Texas Panhandle, up towards Missouri and Illinois. And why we're seeing that rain is because of this system. It's a cold front that's trying to move into Arkansas. It's going to ramp up our rain chances. Ahead of that, we have a south wind that's bringing in warm moisture from the Gulf. So where those two interact is where we're going to see the rain chances increase. And we also have high pressure behind the front. Eventually, that's going to take control of our weather, and that's why we see the drying and the sunshine for Thursday and Friday. So let's talk about the rain here in Arkansas specifically. This is Wednesday, 6:30 in the morning, showing the rain across northwest Arkansas. Eventually, this moves towards the south and the southeast, extending from Mountain Home to Russellville into Mena around noon. Between, I would say 2 p.m. and 3, we see this rain moving into central Arkansas. Between 3 and 4, still there. And then around 6, most of it shifts towards the east and the southeast, completely out of the state by around 8 with clear skies tonight, just in time to see that supermoon. So if you have any fancy cameras and you see the supermoon, please send those pictures in. I'd love to show them and highlight them tomorrow morning. Your forecast rainfall for today, not going to see a whole lot of that rain. We'll see less than 1/10 of an inch across central Arkansas, the higher amounts towards the far east. And the good news is that we're not expecting the severe weather today. We're not expecting it over the next several days. We do have the chance, though, to see rain coming back Saturday night, Sunday and Monday. And with the rain that we're expecting today and adding the rain from this weekend, we could see close to 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rainfall for much of central and northwest Arkansas. Higher amounts across the south and west. Today, a high of 61 degrees. We'll see the scattered rain in the afternoon. And we're also going to see high temperatures really reaching the upper 40s, the low 50s across north and central Arkansas, closer towards the low 60s. Southern Arkansas getting close to the 70s, about 67 degrees in Hampton. We're trending about average with our temperatures here as we approach the end of March, but we're unfortunately trending wetter than average as well, which I know a lot of us do not want to hear. We've seen a lot of rain. We're well over what's normal for this time of the year. 61 the high today, 66 on Thursday with dry weather. We will see that rain again as we head towards the end of the weekend.
Well, we are just thrilled, so excited for everyone to meet Jenny, the newest cat to visit our weather garden.
And Jenny's been lounging around the weather garden just like Larry and Joey once did.
Jenny's story began when her mom, a feral cat, had 5 kittens in the bushes right outside our studio. Our goal was to trap the kittens and rehome them, but Mama Cat moved them too quickly.
After about 10 months, Jenny returned in the parking lot and behind the THV11 weather garden. She was timid at first, but thank goodness for Thiba Lolly. She's the caretaker of Larry and Joey, and meteorologist Nathan Scott. And I think there's a whole lot more to this. Began feeding her and working with her, and she came around.
Yeah, she definitely did. We're so happy about it. She just recently began letting us pet her, so for now she's just kind of hanging out and enjoying all the love
and the sunshine.
Yeah, many of you got excited when we posted this on our social media pages.
Debbie said, glad we finally have another sweetheart to go along with our lovely ladies.
And Laura Jones Light said, good to see a cat back in the weather garden. Another viewer said, Joey is smiling down. Oh, for sure he is.
And we are letting things happen as they happen. So if she wants to stay, she stays. If she wants to go, we don't want her to go, but she'll.
Yeah,
we want her to stay forever.
We're praying she stays forever,
yeah,
for sure.
She definitely brings a smile anytime we see her out there. So we'll keep you updated.
Yes, we will. All right, we are off to a quick break. Stay with us. You're watching THV11 this morning. A total of 77 Arkansans have died from the flu, 14 this past week alone. This is the 3rd wave of influenza, and there are currently 2 strains circulating.
Only one is resistant to the vaccine in adults. The flu hasn't been this bad this late in the year since the epidemic of 1999. And remember, it's never too late to get vaccinated.
2 18-year-olds are being held without bond after pleading not guilty in the shooting death of a senior airman at a North Little Rock gas station. Draquan Robinson and Keith Harris Jr. face capital murder and aggravated robbery charges in the death of Sean McCoe. Police are still working to identify another suspect seen in a panda hat in surveillance video.
Arkansas Razorback superfan Kanan Sandy has suffered a mini stroke. This comes after his stroke last week. The recent attack impacted his speech, and he's now at the Arkansas Heart Hospital for tests. And he's been a Hog fan for his entire life, and for many current and former Razorbacks, he's like a member of their family. He's always showing up to call the Hogs and show his support. We're praying for a speedy recovery.
It is trending across the state this morning. House lawmakers vote yes to teaching the Bible in public schools. According to Bill 1626, if at least 15 students ask for an elective course on the academic study of the Bible, the school must offer it.
The course must be taught in, quote, a non-devotional manner with no attempt made to indoctrinate students. The bill now heads to the Senate.
Since it's the first day of spring, you can score a free ice cream cone at Dairy Queen. If you can't make it today, don't sweat it. You won't be able to get a free cone, but you can save 50 cents on a small regular or dipped soft serve cone by downloading the DQ mobile app. This deal is good starting Thursday until March 31st.
Heads up drivers, starting tomorrow there will be lane closures on US Highway 67. Southbound traffic will be reduced to 1 open lane between State Highway 5 in Cabot and Vandenberg Boulevard in Jacksonville. This lane closure will occur Thursday at 11 a.m. until Friday at 6 a.m. And during this work, 2 ramps will be impacted. The southbound on-ramp from Highway 5 will be closed, and the southbound Highway 67 off-ramp to Vandenberg Boulevard will be closed.
Starting today, a portion of the Arkansas River Trail will be shut down between Main Street Bridge and the Broadway Street Bridge. The trail portion will be closed from 7:30 a.m. through 3:30 p.m. daily today and tomorrow. Crews are trimming and maintaining trees along the trail. You can still use Riverfront Drive as a detour.
6:56 if you're hitting the road this morning. Here is a look at Waze. Unfortunately, we do still have an accident that is causing a big backup along 440 near Bankhead. That's where the accident is, but it's causing issues along the I-30-530 interchange with speeds less than 20 miles per hour. So just be mindful of that. Another accident on I-30 in Saline County near the county fairgrounds. We are also seeing a beautiful start to the day. At least we have some beautiful colors in our sky. Temperatures in the low 40s to start. We won't see any weather related delays in the morning, but in the afternoon we're expecting some light rain to push in. between 2 and about 6 in the afternoon. 61 for the high. We are going to dry out and see the sunshine Thursday and Friday with temperatures near 70 degrees. Definitely feeling a bit more like spring, and then the rain returns late this weekend.
Yes, we got to get that rain and move out, and then we can officially celebrate the start of spring.
That's
I'm
right.
so ready for it. I just want to sit out on a patio, eat lunch, you know, just enjoy the outdoors again.
All right, we'll soon you'll be able to. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.